If you own an electric vehicle right now, I need to tell you something that could cost you thousands of dollars in the next 90 days. There is a tidal wave coming to the used EV market in 2026 that most owners have no idea about. If you are planning on selling your EV or buying a used one, the timing of that decision is the only thing standing between you making money and losing your shirt. To understand why your car's value is about to fall off a cliff, we have to look back at 2023. That was a wild year for EVs because the Inflation Reduction Act had just kicked in with those massive $7,500 federal tax credits. But there was a catch. If you bought an EV outright, there were a ton of strings attached regarding where the battery was made and how much money you earned. However, there was a commercial vehicle loophole for leases. If you leased an EV, all those restrictions vanished. Because of this, dealerships went all in on leases, offering deals as low as $299 a month. In 2023, leases made up a massive 37% of all EV transactions, way up from the usual 25%. Most of those were 3-year leases, and they're all coming due right now in 2026. We are looking at nearly 500,000 lease returns, 492,000 units to be exact, hitting the market in a single year. This isn't happening all at once. It's a rolling thunder that gets worse every quarter. In quarter 1, we're seeing about 87,000 returns. By quarter 2, that jumps to 131,000. By the end of the year, you are going to be competing with nearly 500,000 used EVs sitting on dealer lots. Your negotiating power is going to evaporate. If you're selling, you have to move before May, before that quarter 2 avalanche hits. But if you're buying, quarter 4 is your gold mine. You're gonna be able to negotiate 20% or 30% off listing prices because dealers will be desperate to move inventory. Today, we are breaking down the 5 specific models that are at the highest risk, the cars that are about to flood the market and see their values tank. Let's get into the big 5. Coming in at number 5 is the Ford Mustang Mach-E, with 32,950 units hitting the used market this year. The Mach-E is a solid car with good range and great tech, but Ford flooded the market with lease deals back in 2023 and 2024. Now, all of those cars are coming back at once. Adding to the pressure, Ford has been very aggressive with pricing on new Mach-E's, which naturally drags down the price of used ones. If you own a Mach-E, especially a premium or GT trim, you need to list it before May. Those trims hold value a bit better, but that window is closing fast. For the buyers watching, late 2026 is when you strike. Keep an eye out for long range or premium trims with under 25,000 miles. By quarter 4, you'll likely find these in the mid $20,000 range, which is an absolute steal for a car that originally cost twice that. Moving up the list, we have to look at the cars that were supposed to be the Tesla killers for the average American family. These are the practical, sensible SUVs that everyone's neighbor bought in 2023 because the lease deals were simply too good to pass up. But in 2026, those same lease deals are coming back to haunt the resale market. At number 4, we have the Volkswagen ID.4 with over 36,000 units hitting the used market this year. Now look, the ID.4 is a solid, practical SUV. It's comfortable, it's spacious, and it feels like a real car. But Volkswagen was incredibly aggressive with leasing in 2023 because they were desperate to compete in the mainstream US EV space. They moved a lot of metal, and now all that metal is returning to the dealership lots at the exact same time. The exposed truth here is that the ID.4 is struggling with brand, cash, and technical consistency. While it's a great family hauler, VW has been inconsistent with software updates and charging performance compared to the leaders in the segment. This makes used buyers hesitant, which drives prices down even further. If you own an ID.4, you need to hear this. The market for your car is already soft, and it's only gonna get softer as the year goes on. My advice? List it before the summer heat hits. For the buyers, this is a massive opportunity. If you can wait until quarter 4 of 2026, the ID.4 is going to be one of the best bang for your buck family vehicles in America. You'll be looking at Pro S models with all-wheel drive sitting in the low $20,000 range. Think about that, a modern, safe, electric SUV for the price of a used Corolla. That is the power of the 2026 Avalanche. Next up, at number 3, is a car that I personally love, but the numbers don't lie. The Hyundai Ioniq 5. We are expecting over 43,000 units to flood the market this year. The Ioniq 5 is arguably one of the best EVs on the road right now. It has the 800-volt fast charging, the retro cool design, and great range. But Hyundai pushed massive lease incentives to steal market share from Tesla, and now the bill is coming due. There's also a perception issue that is hurting resale values. Even though Hyundai and Kia have addressed their software vulnerabilities with updates, the headlines about theft concerns from a few years ago are still lingering in the minds of used car buyers. This creates a fear tax that lowers the price even for the cars that are perfectly safe. If you own an Ioniq 5, that window to get top dollar is closing fast. These cars are still hot and desirable right now, so if you're thinking of moving on, sell before the summer. Once the Q3 and Q4 inventory starts stacking up, you'll be fighting every other seller in town. For the smart money buyers, Q4 is your moment. You are going to find loaded, limited trims with all-wheel drive, the ones with the glass roofs and the premium sound systems dropping into the high $20,000 range. That is an incredible deal for a vehicle that can charge from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. You're getting flagship technology for a bargain basement price. Now we've reached the end game. If the Mach-E, the ID.4, and the Ioniq 5 were the warning shots, these next two are the nuclear blast. We are talking about the two vehicles that defined the electric revolution and transformed Tesla into a global powerhouse. But in 2026, that massive success is exactly what is going to crush their resale value. When you sell more cars than anyone else, you eventually have to deal with more used cars than anyone else. This is the Tesla tsunami. At number 2, we have the Tesla Model 3, with a staggering 142,000 units hitting the used market this year. For a long time, the Model 3 was the gold standard for resale value. It was the car that held its worth better than a Toyota Camry. But those days are officially exposed as over. There are two major forces working against your Model 3's value right now. First, Tesla has been aggressively cutting prices on new Model 3S to stay competitive with the flood of new rivals we've talked about. When a brand new car gets cheaper, the used ones behind it have nowhere to go but down. Second, with 142,000 lease returns flooding the market, the supply is simply going to be too much for the demand to handle. The Model 3 is still the second best-selling EV in America. It's proven to be reliable, and the supercharger network is still the best in the business, even if everyone else has a key to the gate now. But being a great car doesn't make it immune to the laws of supply and demand. If you own a Model 3 and you've been thinking about selling, you need to list it this week. Values are already starting to soften, and they're predicted to drop hard starting in Q2. For the buyers, November and December of 2026 are going to be your absolute best shot. Keep your eyes peeled for 2023 long-range models with under 20,000 miles. You are gonna find these in the mid to low $20,000 range. That is an insane amount of car for the money. A lightning-fast, tech-loaded sedan for the price of a basic economy car. And here it is. The #1 model at risk in 2026. The car that is about to experience the biggest price crash in history, the Tesla Model Y. We are looking at over 172,000 units hitting the used market in a single year. That is more than any other EV model by a massive margin. The Model Y is a victim of its own world-beating success. It is the best-selling EV in the world, and it is everywhere. That ubiquity is the problem. When 172,000 people all try to hand their keys back to the dealer at the same time, the supply completely overwhelms the demand. Every neighborhood in America is about to be flooded with white, silver, and black Model Ys sitting on used lots. If you own a Model Y and you want to get out with your equity intact, you have to act immediately. I'm talking before March. Every week you wait is literally costing you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. You cannot wait for the market to recover. The avalanche is already moving. But for the buyers, this is going to be the best deal of 2026. By the fourth quarter, you are going to find 2023 Model Y long-range versions with under 25,000 miles easily for under $30,000. Think about the math on that. That was a $65,000 car just 3 years ago. You are getting one of the most capable, high-tech SUVs ever made for less than 50% of its original cost. Look, I know this has been a lot to take in. If you own one of these cars, like I do with my Model Y, this information is stressful, but knowledge is power. You now know what's coming, which means you can actually do something about it instead of sitting around and hoping the market changes. The market doesn't care about hope. It only cares about supply and demand. If you are a seller, the goal is simple. Sell before May. Don't hold out for top dollar and let your car sit on the market for 3 months. Price it $1,000 or $2,000 below the current market and get it moved before the Q2 avalanche hits. It is much better to take a small hit now than to lose $9,000 by December. If you are a buyer, patience is your best friend. If you can wait until Q3 or Q4, you're going to be walking into a gold mine. Dealers will be sitting on months of inventory, and you will have all the leverage. Negotiate hard start, 15% or 20% below the asking price, and work up from there. Long term, this avalanche is actually a good thing for the EV market. It's a sign of maturity. We are finally seeing used EVs become affordable for mainstream buyers, and that is exactly what we need for mass adoption. I'm going to be tracking these prices every single month to see which models are dropping the fastest. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm Nick, this is Nick's Car Review, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.